Welcome back to Universe. I'm Andrew, and today I'm playing Worldbreakers, Advent of the Khanate. I'm playing the solo campaign. This is chapter 9 out of 10, so we're almost to the conclusion. If you haven't been watching with me since chapter 1, there's a link to the playlist in the description, but you're welcome to join me either way. I'm playing as Kudalun against Ruknudin Kursha as of this chapter. Previously, it was a faceless opponent, but now we have a Worldbreaker on the other side. Let's read the Chapter 9 story card first. It says, after 2 weeks of riding, you arrive at the mountain trail that leads to Alamet Castle. Your forces barely start to climb when a deadly clay device is thrown at them, violet powder seeping from it. The device is quickly followed by a band of warriors carrying curved swords. At the same time, you feel an intrusion at the edges of your mythium-powered bond. You realize that Ruknudin Kursha, the leader of the Order and a powerful Worldbreaker, is personally coordinating the defense of his home. Win this chapter to endure the many ambushes laid by the Order and reach the castle itself. Objective is 10 power. Flip this card if you win the game. Because of my chosen difficulty setting, I will start with 1 power, so I need 9 more. My opponent needs 10, so we have the same objective this time. Last chapter, that definitely worked in my favor, that I only needed 9. Now I need 10. Of course, I am playing as Kudalun. When I attack, every time I attack, one of my attacking followers can get +1 strength. And now we have to face off against Ruknudin's ability here, which is that when he attacks with 1 or more followers, if he has any mythium, which he can store on pernicious powder over there, he can pay it and exhaust himself to deal 1 wound to one of my followers, which I assume is going to be a bummer. So I'm going to take the first action. I know that my opponent's first action is going to be recruit, because I shuffled this order deck, and that's what came out on top. So get my opening hand of 5. See if I want to mulligan anything. I think I'm going to send away the call to arms. It's a little too unpredictable, especially since I don't know if I'm going to be able to afford the standing thresholds and also the fanciful astronomer because it requires 2 moon. So I'll draw 2 replacement cards and shuffle these in. And I've got my 5 mythium to start out. Let's see what I want to do. I don't know if this is a good path. I've been winning, so I got a loss to give. Technically, that's not how this campaign works, but I have the 1 earth standing for this, and I'm going to pay the 1 mythium cost to play this event. I'm going to choose the top mode there for Gur Migration. I can draw 2 cards and gain 1 standing, and I'm going to gain 1 moon standing because I drew my 3/5 Steelclad Captain. So I also get to draw 2 cards, so that's nice. Get some extra options. That was my action playing a card, so now it is my opponent's action, and they will do the top card of the order deck, which says to recruit. Put the top card of their deck into play. It is this one. And right off the bat, they're going to get, oh no, the right hand. This is the card that just got added along with Ruknudin Kursha. Although they don't have any mythium yet. So when they attack, they can pay 1 mythium to deal an extra wound. But this card here, the special campaign rules card, says that your opponent can pay for Ruknudin Kursha's ability by spending mythium from new rules. Oh, the right hand's ability costs 1 less. That's the important bit there. So when they use Ruknudin to pay a mythium to deal 1 wound, as long as the right hand is in play, that will be 2 wounds instead. So that's coming out. It's only a 2/2 though, a little bit small. And then recruit says flip this card, so we can see that on turn 2, they're going to skirmish. They're going to increase their void. Oh, right off the bat, they're going to be increasing their void. And then they don't have a location, so they will attack with 1 follower. So actually, I can just play something, they'll attack, and I can block it and kill the right hand. So I think I'm good. They haven't gained any mythium. However, they're gaining a void, which means their void goes from the starting of 1 up to 2. And that's going to trigger new rules card 2, which is storage 4. These 4 cards are stored there, and these are going to be shuffled into their deck right off the bat. We got some scary things potentially coming down the line already. Although, it's a nice big deck, so these 4 scary cards are mixed in. Of course, if they get to 3 void, then there's 2 more strong cards waiting in the wings. Oh, and I shouldn't be resolving this yet because we're not actually resolving the skirmish right now. But they're going to do it in a moment, so no big deal. Because they're going to do this on their second action, but that was their first action, was just recruiting. Now it is my second action first. And I think I'm going to spend all my Mythium to play the Steel-clad Captain. And she's a 3/5. It's going to take all of my remaining Mythium, though, which is a little bit rough. But I'm going to bring her out. That's my action. Now they can do their skirmish. They'll increase their Void, gain those cards into their deck, and attack with one follower. They do not have any Mythium with which to pay for Khanuten's ability, so they don't deal 1 or 2 wounds. And I can just block, which means they will exchange damage. My follower has 3 strength, so that will kill the 2 health there, and the 2 strength here is going to put 2 wounds against my 5 health here. So 2 wounds on the captain, and the right hand is dead. So that's nice. Then this card says to discard itself after it's resolved. So we're going to discard that, which reveals another recruit over there. And I can do my third action. But since I don't have any Mythium and I don't have a follower with which to attack, I can basically choose to draw a card or gain 1 Mythium. I just drew 2 cards, so I'm going to do my least favorite action of the game, which is to gain 1 Mythium, but at least I got the captain out, and I already got to swallow a powerful follower from my opponent. Now they're going to do their third order, which is to recruit and get this one here. Ooh, another... Oh, this is one of the big ones. A 2/4 bloodshed. When it attacks alone, it deals a wound. Ooh, well, I'm glad I saw that coming, because any follower I might have played is probably going to have 1 health. Their recruit flips to an infiltrate, so that one just says that if they have a non-signature location, they'll develop it. They don't, so they will attack with 1 follower. Of course, that's going to trigger the bloodshed. So I need to play around that. I don't want to throw a 1 health follower into that situation. It's my 4th action. I might just gain another Mythium, which doesn't feel good. Now it is their turn. They will attack. Since I have nothing to block with, it breaches, and they gain 1 strength. Oh, and it does deal the wound. It still triggers that bloodshed, so it's going to hit my captain. In fact, if I had played a follower, I think they would hit the captain anyway. Pernicious Powder targets the follower with the least remaining health, but this ability is not following the Pernicious Powder rules. It would just follow their normal AI rules, which would be the highest standing. Oh, but it targets ready over exhausted, so it would hit whoever I played, because they would be ready, whereas the captain here is exhausted. So that will end the round. Oh, this should be, infiltrate should be discarded, revealing another regular recruit. And we can see we're going to trigger rally abilities, but there are none. Ready cards, gain 2 Mythium, but my AI opponent doesn't get any. Draw a card, but my AI opponent doesn't get one. Check for victory, neither of us has 10 power, and then flip the player order, which means instead of me going first, they will be going first for round 2. They start by recruiting, and it's another 2 void card. A 1/4 that when it breaches, I discard a card. All right. And then the recruit is flipped to reveal a raid, which says if they have a ready follower, they attack with 1, and it gains the ability that if it breaches, they gain 5 Mythium, which I don't want them to have. So when they attack, I'm going to want to block it. Fortunately, I have a 3/5, although she's building up some wounds. So which follower are they going to attack with? They will attack with their highest standing follower, which is a tie. So then it would be the highest Mythium cost, which would be the emissary. So that's the bloodshed again. So she's going to take a 4th wound, and then I can choose to block, but her strength is only 3, so she wouldn't even kill it, and she will die. If I attack with her now, they have 2 followers, so they will block with one of them for sure, and it will be the one. They'll block with their lowest strength, so they would block with the Saboteur rather than the Emissary, which is not necessarily the one I want to kill. And also, if I don't, they'll still be able to attack with the other one, which means I'm going to get hit. They're going to breach and gain 5 Mythium. I can play Champion of the Tumen, but that's going to spend all of my Mythium just to block and trade with the Emissary. Or, and I'm not loving this plan, but I can play the Lion Tamer, which is the alternate version of the Dog Tamer, for 1 and migrate to gain an Earth standing to set me up for the future, rather than spending my last and only Earth standing and not be able to play anything from my hand. And have a 1/1 to block the Emissary. The wound from bloodshed will go to her because she costs more. And then I can use Wild Boar Charge, which defeats a wounded follower, to defeat the emissary after that. I don't know if that's good, but I'm going to do it because I don't want to spend all of my Mythium and have nothing to do again for the rest of the round. So go ahead and do the migrate option of gaining 1 standing rather than spending a standing here to gain 3 Mythium. They will raid, attack with their highest strength follower, which is the emissary. It triggers its bloodshed, and I will block so they don't get to breach. Put 1 wound here, and my Lion Tamer dies. This is discarded to reveal a Set the Trap. It says if they have a location, they gain 2 Mythium. They don't. Otherwise, they gain 1 Mythium, though. Either way, they get a follower from the top of their deck, or a card from the top of their deck. They do have a couple locations in there. But for my second action, I mean, I could actually attack, because their next action is odd rather than even, they are willing to block with their last ready follower. I don't have to worry about the emissary until next round, and I could just force this trade because when I attack, I can give +1 strength. So I don't do that and they end up attacking. I'm gonna have to make an awkward block with something, or I'm gonna get breached and have to discard a card. Ugh. All right, I'm gonna do it. So I'm gonna attack. I'm gonna use Kudulin's ability. 1 attacking follower gets +1 strength for this combat, bringing her up to 4, which will kill the 4. And then 1, of course, is going to finish off my captain because she's been collecting wounds all along. And that was an action just to force that trade. Now they will go to their third action to set the trap. They gain 1 Mythium, which goes on Pernicious Powder. If they end an order with 3 or more Mythium, they spend all of it to deal 1 wound. Also, this Mythium can be spent on Khanute's ability when they attack to deal a wound. Currently I have nothing to wound though. They also put something into play, which is the Pit of Despair. 7 cost location with 3 developments. They can gain 2 power and then gain 2 Mythium and 1 power. And then draw 2 cards and gain a power. And those 2 cards would be converted into 2 Mythium on the Pernicious Powder. So we'll see when they start developing those. Put that down. This is flipped to reveal a Spring the Trap, which says if they have a ready follower, they attack with 1 and it gains a breach ability, but they're not going to have that. So otherwise, your opponent develops a location. So their next action will be to go ahead and use that top development of gaining 2 power, which will put them up to 3, unless I can somehow damage that with my third action, which I cannot. I think I'm going to play Kudulin's Keshig. Whenever she attacks, she gets a +1/+1 counter, and she has Overwhelm. So hopefully she's going to be good for me. She costs 2, and she's just a 1/1 for now. I'll put her out for my action. I'm down to 1 Mythium. They do their order, Spring the Trap, so they're going to develop. They do the top ability there and gain 2 power, going up to 3 out of 10. This is discarded and reveals a Vicious Stab. It says it deals 1 wound to a follower you control with the least remaining health. So that will kill her, and then they put something into play. Fortunately, I can avoid that by using my 4th action to attack. So when I attack, she's going to get a +1/+1 counter. Now she's at 2/2. They don't block because they have nothing to block with, which actually means I get a power, and I get to damage their location and remove that 2nd development token there. Then, actually that's not even going to happen until next round, because now we're ending the round. We get to ready, I get 2 Mythium and a card, and we flip, and it's my turn. I get to go first. So they're not going to Vicious Stab me until their first action, which is next. So they won't attack again until action 2. So I have time to play this Wild Boar Charge before worrying about this Bloodshed ability. Although when they do attack, they're going to pay this Mythium and deal a wound, in addition to the Vicious Stab wound. So I might just want to attack now. She'll jump up to 3/3. My opponent will actually block because their next action is odd. That will kill the emissary. Because of Overwhelm, I get a power, but she will take 2 wounds in that fight, and then the Vicious Stab will kill her. And I don't get to damage the location because she will have been blocked. Or I can Wild Boar Charge the emissary as my action. Then my opponent's action will be to deal 1 wound here, but she'll survive that, and then they'll recruit. And then I can attack, and they would not block. No, they would block because they defend their locations. So it depends on what comes out, how saddened I will be by that. Also, that will cost me 2 of my 3 Mythium. I think I'm going to hope that whatever comes out is smaller. So on the smaller side. It could happen. I could get lucky. So I'm going to Wild Boar Charge. Spend 2. Defeat a wounded follower. he's got a wound, so he's gone. That is my action. So my opponent will do their action to Vicious Stab. Deal 1 wound to a follower I control with the least remaining health. And then put the top card of their deck into play. What is it? Oh, it's not even a follower. It is a 4-cost location. The Forlorn Flats. It's going to give them a Void Standing and a power. The Void Standing will be converted to a Mythium for the Pernicious Powder. And then the second development will be to gain a power and deal 2 wounds to a follower. And in this case, they've actually never had 2 out at the same time. I don't know how that works necessarily. Like if they get to choose to develop, which one would they choose? I assume it would just be the same AI priority system. So they would choose highest standing first, which would be the Forlorn Flats. Tiebreaker would be highest cost, which would be the Pit of Despair, but no tiebreaker because the Pit of Despair doesn't have a standing requirement. But regardless, I think this is good for me because now it's going to be my action. The Vicious Stab is flipped to become a regular Infiltrate. So they're going to try to attack. Actually, they would try to develop. So they're going to be developing. But my action, I'm going to attack. That's going to give her a second +1/+1 counter. She's up to 3/3. I get a power, putting me up to 3 power. And she's unblocked, so I get to damage a location. And I'm just going to finish off the Pit of Despair. 2 cards and a power. Oh, however, I might want to hit the Forlorn Flats. No. So if I hit the Forlorn Flats, I would remove the topmost token. And that means when they develop next, they would deal 2 wounds and kill my Keshig. So I actually want to not damage this and leave it, let them develop that top one, and then maybe I can get rid of this one or put out a target I'm more willing to part with beforehand. So I'll go ahead and damage the Pit of Despair. That is the last development counter removed, so it's discarded. And I think that was good. Their second action will be Infiltrate. All they can do is develop. They gain a Void Standing and a power. But because the Void Standing is not coming from an order card, it is converted into a Mythium. The power they gain normally, though, putting them up to 4 to my 3. Then this is discarded to reveal a regular Recruit. My third action. I only have 1 Mythium. I have 4 cards. I kind of want to save up. I'm also a little bit afraid if they gain any Mythium and I play this Gallant Soldier, it's just going to get shot by the powder. Also, if I play a follower with 1 health and they end up attacking, like if I play a follower, they play a follower, I maybe attack, then when they attack, well, they would block because they have a location to defend. I can gain a Mythium and then next action play a Skillful Bruiser, but she's also only got 1 health. Or I could just let them do whatever they want. Their fourth action might be to develop instead of attack. Because if it's a normal Infiltrate, the Infiltrates are usually develop over attacking, which means there's going to be 2 wounds getting shot over here, which is going to hit her. And I don't think I can avoid that. If I do gain a Mythium and then play her, it would be a tie on which one gets shot at, because they both have 1 standing and 2. Or actually, it wouldn't be a tie. She's ready, so she would take the hit. Whoever's ready takes the hit, in fact. Whoever's ready takes the hit. The AI prioritizes ready followers over exhausted ones, so I could even play the soldier as bait and see how that goes. All right, I'm going to do that. My opponent will recruit a Novice Cut Purse, 1/1. After it is blocked, they gain 2 Mythium and a standing, which converts into a 3rd Mythium there. If they block, the recruit is flipped to become a Mythium Cloak. Interesting. If your opponent controls a ready follower, it attacks with 1 of them. I cannot block. So the developing is actually the second tier here, so they will be attacking and I will not be able to block. Which means, actually they would block though. Because when I attack while they have a location, they do block to defend it. So if I attack, they will defend it and will trade. But then they still have the flats. And then they will develop because they don't have a follower to attack with. So my Keshig would die and the board would be clear. Or I could not attack. They will attack and gain 1 power. But they don't have any breach abilities or anything. And that would mean that the location is not being developed. Which means I'd basically just be using this turn to gain 1 Mythium. I think that's what I'm going to do. So then they resolve the Mythium Cloak, which means they attack. They gain a 5th power. It's getting a little bit scary. Oh no! They activate Ruknudin. When they attack, they pay a Mythium and exhaust him to deal a wound, which kills my Gallant Soldier. I'm going to let it happen. So they exhaust Ruknudin to do that, spend 1 of their Mythium, and kill the soldier. I could rewind it, but I'm not going to. I'm going to let it happen. So I think the Keshig is going to be worth it. I hope. Mythium Cloak is discarded and reveals a Muster, which will put the top of their deck into play and gain their third Void. So, end of the round, we will rally, ready, gain 2 Mythium, draw a card. They also ready Raknuden for another use here. And they get the top action of the round, which is going to be to muster. They get a card first, another location. This one's a 5 cost Raiders Hideaway. Gain 2 Mythium and a power. Gain 2 Mythium, you may attack. Gain 2 Mythium and a power. Oh, and when it enters, you may attack. Which means that actually happens right away. So they attack with the Cut Purse. I could block, but then I'm not growing my Keshig. And it would trigger their block ability. I'm letting them go up to 6. This is feeling really bad. They get a third Void, which triggers new rules card 3, and these 2 cards are going to be shuffled into their deck. My last couple games, these extra cards were not added until later in the game, which means I had an easier time kind of building up and plodding along until the end game started looming. But now some of these strong cards are coming out and messing me up. Oh, and of course that will activate Raknuden as well. They attacked. So that triggers his ability to exhaust, pay a Mythium, and deal a wound. I'm not too heartbroken about that this time because that's 2 wounds against her 3 health. Muster's flipped to a regular infiltrate, so they will want to develop. The one they want to develop is the higher standing, the Raiders Hideaway, which is going to give them 2 Mythium and a power. But I can attack and damage it. If I attack and damage it, that top one will be gone, and then they will do gain 2 Mythium and then attack, and they won't have anything to attack with. And I wanted to attack with her anyway, so here we go. She's up to a 4/4 now. They can't block, so I gain a power, and I damage a location. I do want to eat some followers with her Overwhelm, but we'll see. As long as she keeps growing, she can absorb more wounds. So my opponent will now infiltrate, and that means they're going to attack, or they will develop. They'll develop their highest standing card. That's going to give them 2 Mythium, and they may attack. They have nothing to attack with. Then this is discarded, revealing a regular Recruit. And now it is my second action. And again, I think I'm going to gain a Mythium. I actually have a couple 2-cost cards, but one is the 1 health one I'm not really thrilled about playing. I also have this Poised Duelist, a 2/2. If I have at least 2 other followers, it gets +1/+1 counter. I don't. So it'd just be 2 for a 2/2. Not excited about that. And I'm saving up for the suitor here. I think that's going to be pretty good. So they get to recruit, and it is, oh man, the Ancient Butcher. Who is shuffling this? A 4/6. If it's attacking alone, they can pay 0. They have a rules card that tells them how, or tells me how to resolve this specific ability. So they will pay 0 for X, which means they deal X + 1, which is a total of 1 wound to the follower the defending player controls. So if it's attacking alone, they will pay nothing and deal 1 wound. And of course, that's in addition to, well, Raknuden is exhausted for this round, but potentially in the future, that could stack up. Make some room somehow here. The Recruit is flipped to become a regular infiltrate, so they will intend to attack, which will mean the Ancient Butcher's coming in. But now I do have 4, and I can afford the suitor. He costs 4, I will pay it. And now I have a 6/6. He has Overwhelm, so if he kills a blocker, I gain the power. And after he overwhelms, or I gain power from breaching, if he's still in play, I gain 6 Mythium, and then he is defeated. In this case, I think I'm just going to be using him to block. He does not mind blocking. As my opponent attacks, they will deal 1 wound. So who are they hitting? Ready followers over exhausted followers. So he takes 1. That's a power. He takes 1, and then I will block. This doesn't happen because it's already exhausted. So I think I'm safe-ish. And now my 6 will kill 6. 4 will just put 4 more wounds. He's still alive with 1 health left. I thought he'd last a little longer, but we killed the Ancient Butcher at least. And now it is my 4th action. And again, I got nothing to do but gain 1 Mythium. I mean, I could draw a card, but yeah, I just really need the money to be able to afford. I've got 3 cards in my hand, so I'm not super excited by them, but I need them. And now I'm going to have the advantage going into this round. I get to go first. Do need to be careful of these locations my opponent has. This infiltrate should have been discarded, and it's revealing a regular recruit. If I attack, they will block. They will block my highest strength follower, which is 6. And with only 1 health left, I can't actually afford that. If I attack with the Keshig, she'll get another counter, which will bring her up to 5/5. And I can assign an extra strength to her, making her a 6/5, in which case their strength will be tied. But then the normal tiebreaker rules would kick in, and they would block the highest standing. And it would still be the suitor getting blocked. Which is okay. I don't expect him to last. It's just that if he survives the fight, he's defeated still, but I get 6 Mythium. If he doesn't survive the fight, I don't get the 6 Mythium. So, it's less exciting. I could just attack with the Keshig. They will still block. I get the Overwhelm, but I don't damage a location. Confident Suitor's not getting through unless they put another location into play, and I don't think they have any more. I mean, I already got 3 out. So I might just have to accept the fact that I'm not getting that 6 Mythium. I definitely don't want the suitor to die before he gets to attack. They have a 1 card in their deck that when he comes out, they immediately attack twice. And if that happened, the Raknuden ability would trigger and get to deal a wound somewhere, which would be to the suitor and kill him. So it's only a 1 out of all of that deck left chance, but would be bad. Or they have like things like Void Apprentice and stuff like that that could give them another Mythium, and we haven't seen the Pernicious Powder trigger yet this game, but if they got a third Mythium, which could definitely happen, I think there's at least 2 Void Apprentices plus other effects that could give them Mythium, that would have Pernicious Powder shoot my lowest health remaining follower, which also is the suitor. So maybe I just need to use him now. Well, I could attack with him and not her, but I don't know that that's getting me that far either. I would kind of like to have 2 followers in play. I drew Earth Apprentice, and then of course the Poised Duelist, both trigger off having 2 followers out. 6 Mythium would be really nice for that too. All right, I think I'm just going to attack with the suitor. Hopefully this makes sense and works out here. They will block because they want to defend their location. So the 6th wound will kill him. This will of course die as a 1/1. And Overwhelm means I get a power even though it was blocked because it killed its blocker. But the 6th wound will kill the suitor. And yeah, he says after he overwhelms, which he did, or I gain power from breaching with it, if it's still in play, gain 6. But he took his 6th wound there. So I think that is a failure. They will recruit, I mean, not a complete and utter failure. It is a little baby. They got a 1/2. If they have 3 standing with a guild, oh no, they do have it. So it's a 2/3, not quite as much of a baby, unfortunately. But this gets flipped to a regular infiltrate. And now I can attack with her and they will block again, defending their location. But that means they will be activating a location, which will be the Raider's Hideaway to give them 2 Mythium and a power. She's going to grow up to 5/5. 2, 3, 4 wounds. Then my opponent's going to get 2 Mythium and spend all 4 of it to trigger the powder and kill her if I attack. Otherwise, they're going to develop this location anyway, get 2 Mythium and a power. Then they'll spend the 4 Mythium to shoot somebody. But she won't be dead. But if I play 1 health, or 1 health follower, they'll be dead. I can play this Poised Duelist and just not get the +1/+1. And she would actually take that Pernicious Powder hit and survive it. I guess that's what I'm going to do. I really want a 3rd Mythium so I can play Earth Apprentice. Well, I only have 1. All right, my opponent's going to infiltrate. They're going to develop a location. The Hideaway will give them 2 Mythium and their 7th power. This is gone, but that means their next thing is going to be the Forlorn Flats, which is the one I've been afraid of, dealing 2 wounds and giving them a power. This is discarded to reveal a Set the Trap, which gives them 2 Mythium if they have a location, which they do, otherwise 1, and then they bring out a follower. That'll be their next action. Plus, of course, they resolved an order with 3 or more Mythium, so they spend it all. It's our first chance to take a look at Pernicious Powder. I've been talking about it a lot, but it says if they would gain Mythium, place it here. If they gain standing or draw a card by a non-order ability, it converts into Mythium here. And after they finish an order, if there's at least 3 Mythium here, they spend it all to shoot somebody I have with the lowest remaining health. It's actually a tie. They both have 2 health left, but this one has the higher standing. So it is the Poised Duelist that takes 1 wound. And I think actually this is good. Now I can attack. I think this is good. I can attack. She gets another +1/+1. She's a 5/5 now. And my opponent will defend because they have a location they want to defend. And they will block my highest strength attacker, I believe. Strength doesn't really matter here. 5 will definitely kill 3. And then 2 back puts her at 4. So this guy goes. That triggers Overwhelm. And this one got through. And because it got through, not only did I get that power, but I had to damage their location. So now we're 7-7. That's nice. And now when they go to set the trap, they don't have a location. So instead of getting 2 Mythium, they only get 1. And then put somebody into play. It is the Void Apprentice. So they gain a Void, which is converted into a Mythium. And if a follower was defeated this round, which it was, they gain a card, which is converted into Mythium. And now they have a Void Apprentice. And as they finish their turn, again, Pernicious Powder is going to trigger because they had at least 3. And they hit my highest standing. So actually they kill the Duelist, which I'm not excited about losing my Duelist, but I prefer that over her. Now this gets flipped to become an Infiltrate, so they're going to want to attack my 4th action. When they attack, they don't have any Mythium left, so they're not going to be able to use Rooknuden. So I could play... Oh no, I played my 1 cost guy a while back, I guess. I actually can't do anything with my 1, which means I'm gaining another Mythium. And then they get to attack and gain power number 8. And that is a very dangerous situation. They also get to go first going into the next round here. Infiltrate was discarded to reveal another Set the Trap. So they gain 1 Mythium and put the top of their deck into play. The Silent Assassin, 1/1 with Bloodshed 1. When it attacks alone, it deals a wound. And then this is flipped to a Raid. This is the one that if they attack with a ready follower, and the follower gains breach, gain 5 Mythium. So what about my action? So also they now have Mythium, which means when they attack, they're going to use Rooknuden to deal a wound, which will kill her. I don't think she has long to live here. If I don't attack with her, I do something else. My opponent will attack with their highest strength, which is actually the Void Apprentice. When they do, Rooknuden will spend his Mythium to shoot her and kill her. She's a 5/5 with 4 wounds. Unless I play a more juicy target again by having higher standing follower. Don't have one in my hand though. I do have a tie for the highest standing with a higher cost, which would make Champion of the Tumen the target of that 1 wound. And then I could block with the Champion of the Tumen and kill the attacking Void Apprentice, but I'd be spending all my 4 Mythium on that. I could also play Call to Arms and trust the top of my deck, the heart of the cards, reveal cards from the top of my deck, and until I reveal 2 followers, draw them both, and I can play 1 immediately, paying all costs. I've got 4 Mythium, which can afford most stuff in my deck. I don't think I have very many cards that require 3 Earth, if any. I do have a card that requires 2 Moon, so I wouldn't be able to play that one. And I don't think I have too many cards that cost more than 4, which is what I have now. So I feel like I will be able to play something. It's just, is it better than Champion of the Tumen? And is it better than just attacking? If I attack, she grows up to 6/6, but my opponent will block with their highest health follower, which is the Void Apprentice, and its 2 strength will finish off the Kessig. Her Overwhelm would mean I get another power, and I would be up to 8, but she'd be gone. I mean, she did a good job, but I'm going to trust the heart of the cards. Let's do the Call to Arms. Let's reveal 2 followers here. There's 1, and there's not 1. There is 1. All right, so I did have a card that cost too much. The Mongol Quartermaster costs 5, so I cannot afford him. He's just going to go into my hand. And I'm going to be playing the Arag Maker. 2 costs 2/2. That will do the job that I wanted it to do, but for half the price. So I think I'm happy with that. So I'm going to pay 2 to bring him out. I gain any 1 standing. I think I'll go ahead and take my 2nd Moon. Because again, I don't think I need 3 Earth for anything other than paying migrating costs. But I have the Earth Apprentice in my hand. And now my opponent can go ahead and do their raid. So they're going to go declare an attack. They attack with their highest strength, which is Void Apprentice. Because they're attacking and they have Mythium to spend, Rooknuden will activate and deal 1 wound. Choose the ready follower with the highest standing, the highest cost. Oh no! Step 4 is choose a location with the fewest remaining stages or a follower with the least remaining health, which means I messed up some of those location activations earlier as well. They actually would have activated the one with the fewer stages left, the one with only 1 stage left. Oh no, that's a tiebreaker. Okay, so I resolved the locations properly, but now she's only got 1 health left and he's got 2. So it actually does take out the Keshig, unfortunately, which is absolutely not what I wanted. But once I committed to the heart of the cards, everything else was up to fate. And I have to block. I can't let them get through and go up to 9 power. That's just too risky. So we're trading. My Earth Apprentice feels so far away. I didn't get my Overwhelm. And the raid is discarded to reveal a regular recruit. Now it's my second action. I just have 2 Mythium and nothing else. How much trouble am I in if I just gain Mythium for the rest of the round in order to try to play this Quartermaster? They're going to recruit and then attack, and they'll go up to 9. If they recruit the guy that gives them free attacks, I lose. I'm going to gain 1 Mythium, and we'll see what they bring out with their recruit. It is a Callous Closer. Come on. A 5/4. First team each round, if follower is defeated, they draw a card. So the first follower defeat in this round has already happened, so they won't get to trigger that during this round because the Callous Closer was not here to see it, but it did happen. This is flipped to reveal a Stupefy. Ugh. If they have already follower, it attacks, and if it hits me, I have to discard 2 cards. I mean, I have cards I'm not using, but that doesn't mean I want to discard them. They will attack, of course, with their highest strength, so that'll be the closer. If I don't block, not only do I have to discard 2 cards, but they go to 9 power. Man, I wonder if I had just played the Champion of the Tumen, if things would be any better right now. I would still have my 5/5, I think. I don't know what would have happened, but I'd have like no Mythium. And I feel like I've seen a lot of their strong cards this game, though. We'll check at the end. But I think that makes up for some of my luck in the last couple games where they got them really late and hardly ever got any out. This game has certainly been more interesting in the sense that I got to deal with their locations, which I haven't seen much of from them, maybe like 1 at a time, but here we saw all 3. Some of them I got to damage, some of them they got to use. So that was an interesting switch up from the last, well, pretty much the whole rest of the campaign. That's the first time I played against locations like that. In the first half of the campaign, I was the one who had the locations. I'm going to draw a card. I don't know. I don't think things are slipping out of my hands. Or rather, I think I've been struggling to hold onto this rope the whole time, but probably not going to help. We'll see. They get to Stupefy. So they attack. They get a 9th power, and because of the Stupefy, the Breach effect, I have to discard 2 cards. So Champion of the Tumen is out, and I think the Earth Apprentice actually also has to go here. My 4th action, let's gain another Mythium. I don't know. And the Stupefy is discarded as well, which means their order deck is empty. We got to reshuffle and see what they're going to be starting out with. It is a Vicious Stab. Oh no. They're going to hit somebody for a wound right off the bat. All right, so ready, rally, Mythium, draw, and flip. I actually think this card I just drew would have been nice a long time ago. So now I've got 6, and I can play this Quartermaster. He lets me migrate, so I can choose to gain an Earth Standing or spend an Earth Standing for that effect, which is what I'm going to do, to play another follower for 2 less. That's going to be the Skillful Bruiser, just a 3/1 with Overwhelm. Oh, they're just going to Vicious Stab it. So I need to do something else, actually. They're just going to be recruiting, so I can play my followers next turn. So I think I'm just gaining another Mythium. Then their Vicious Stab doesn't get to hit anybody, and then they recruit a Serendipitous Witness, a 2/3. The first time each round of followers defeated, they gain a Mythium, and this is flipped to become a regular Infiltrate. They're just going to attack. So now we need to go ahead and play the Quartermaster for 5 and play somebody for free. Then they're going to go ahead and attack. They don't have Mythium, so Raknuden doesn't trigger. I have to block or I lose. Do I trade or throw her under the bus? I think I have to trade. So we do that. This is discarded. Regular Recruit is next. And I'm going to play this card I just drew, Read the Minds, which is nice with her Overwhelm. I'm going to pay 2 Mythium, and it lets me attack as part of resolving the event, so I will do so. Oh, they don't actually block. Oh, no, they do, because their next turn is odd. But I'm going to lose if I do this, because I'll get the 5 power, or the 5 Mythium. I will gain a power. I'll trade her away with something, actually the Witness. Oh, they also get to draw a card when the closer died. And they trigger the Witness. Draw card is converted to Mythium. Mythium is just Mythium. So they actually triggered both their abilities and gained 2 Mythium. So next time they attack, they get to use Raknuden. If they gain any more Mythium, they might Pernicious Powder me instead. But if I attack, their next turn is odd. So they would block it with 1 anyway, as long as they have 1 left. So Yeah, they definitely block. They block with their follower with the highest health, which is the 3 here, and they would trade. Overwhelm means I get power, which because of Read the Mind means I also get 5 Mythium. These are gone. Then they recruit their second follower, and then on my fourth action, I actually don't have much to do. I can play the Humble Underpass, which is the only remaining card in my hand, but that doesn't block, and their fourth action will probably be to attack, and then I will lose. So I actually need to be able to block, except that if I try to block with the Skillful Bruiser, I'm just going to lose her because Rocknuden's going to shoot her. But I think I have to spend my 2 Mythium instead. I know I will lose if I do that. So I got to do this instead. I think I'm still going to lose, but we're going to play the Humble Underpass and a location of my own. So I can develop it for Mythium and Power, and then for Mythium and Standing. Bring that out. My opponent will recruit a... There you go. So this guy last game, he didn't hurt me at all. In fact, I think it helped me, but this time I'm definitely getting blown out of the water. So when he enters, they may attack and then attack again with 2 separate attacks. So they will attack with their highest strength, which is a tie. Highest standing is here. That triggers this. They do this. They do this. And they do this. And they get a 10th power. The game's not over, technically. They'll go ahead and finish resolving that ability. They gain an 11th power and destroy my underpass. That was their action 3. The recruit. Next is the Mythium Cloak. On my 4th action, I have no Mythium. And all I can do, I can gain a Mythium again, my favorite action of this game. And then their 4th action, they will attack with this and get 12 power. Dang it, I never got past 7. I felt like I was close, but didn't happen. It all fell apart when Keshig died. Well, if you saw the first half of the campaign, you know that I'm just going to keep playing anyway. So let's take a look at Chapter 9. It says win this flip this if you win the game. I didn't, but I'm going to flip it anyway. And it says I'm going to draft 2 cards. Replace a Recruit Infiltrate order, which is one of these here. Take that out, and we're going to replace that with a Set the Trap, Defend the Castle. So Set the Trap looks like this. Gain 2 Mythium if you have a location, 1 otherwise, and then recruit, and then Defend the Castle is new. Place 3 Mythium on New Rules Alamut Castle. If your opponent controls a non-signature location, they develop it, otherwise they attack. So the main thing is the 3 Mythium on New Rules Alamut Castle, which I don't see. Oh, it's hidden under the Chapter 10 card. A little bit awkward there. So find the New Rules Alamut Castle. Oh, it tells me where to find it. Weird that you just didn't make it the next card, but okay. Read it and have it ready for future games. Proceed to Chapter 10. Alamut Castle says Storage 1. Gather the Alamut Castle card and store it here. This is a 7-cost location, and it says when your attack, if one of your followers is attacking alone, ready your Worldbreaker and develop this location. Well, that's messed up. Gain a power, gain 2 power. Wow. Okay. When Mythium is removed from the New Rules Pernicious Powder card, if more than 3 was removed, place the excess here. There you go. And if there's at least 7 here, remove it and they build the castle. When Alamut Castle would leave play, store it here so it can keep coming back as long as they get 7 stored up. Well, that's going to be fun. Yeah, just for fun and because I'm salty, let's see how many of the cards that started the game in storage ended up coming out to haunt me. So there were 2 cards under the New Rules 3, and they both came out. There were 6 cards under the New Rules 2, and 4 of them came out. And out of, I think, I don't know how many starting cards, but we got 8 cards that were not there. Although this one, I think, got added in like Chapter 2 or 3. Oh, and then the right hand, of course, is the new card for Chapter 4, or add 5 to those numbers, those chapter numbers, because we're in the second half of the campaign. But yeah, I'm going to say that that was a pretty unlucky sequence, you know, just to make myself feel better. Oh no, there were just 4 under New Rules 2, and they all came out. Yeah, just 4. We got them all. But that's fine. We'll get them next time. I think last campaign I lost 2 or 3 times in a row, and then I won the final, so... Or last half of the first half of this same campaign that we're playing now. That's obviously what I meant. All right, we're drafting 2, which means we're going to look at 4. There are, what, 6 cards left in the deck, so I'll just take these 2 out. We're not going to see those. And I'm going to choose 2 of these. Let's take a look. First up is the 5-cost Double Moon location, Volatile Furnace. When it enters, damage it to defeat a follower. Well, that seems quite good. You're giving up the 2 power because you have to damage it so the first development goes away. And 2 power is quite nice. All that you're left with is 2 more power off of 2 activations. But play this card, Defeat a Follower, is enticing. And if you don't need to defeat a follower, you can get up to 4 power out of that 1 card if you can defend it. We get the 3-cost location, the Submerged Brilliance. Draw 2 cards and gain 2 Mythium, and then gain a power and a standing, and then gain a power. This one's okay. I don't think that's what we're doing. Another location, 2-cost Triple Earth, the Amu River Encampment. When it enters, you may attack. That's nice. Getting 2 actions out of 1. And then it's got 2 developments, gain a power. You may put a +1/+1 counter on a follower. And then attack. For this attack, all your followers gain Overwhelm. All your followers gain Overwhelm is kind of medium here in this matchup, I think. You're basically using it. Yeah, it's kind of just a normal action, just being able to attack. So it's 2 cost to immediately attack. Which again, you could attack for free. It's not doing it for me, especially with that Triple Earth. I think this card could be very good. It's just, I don't know if it's good in these games that we've been playing. And then a card that is not a location, the 3-cost Single Moon 1/2. After you gain standing, draw a card. Ugh. Wow. I actually don't like these cards overall. She's just so small. 3 cost for 1/2. If it was 2 cost for a 1/2, I'm just so much tighter on Mythium than I am cards. Well, at least this game feels that way. It's pretty consistent, I think. So, I mean, even this one, 5 cost is a lot, and the Double Moon. I mean, maybe I have to play the Submerged Brilliance just because it can get me, I mean, it gets me some more power. She's not going to survive. I mean, 3 cost 1/2. She's not going to make it. I think I have to take these 2. If I could choose not to draft, I might choose that, but I don't think that's an option. And I kind of want to play with new cards anyway. So I'm going to take the Submerged Brilliance, 2 cards to Mythium, power and standing, and then power. And then the Volatile Furnace, defeat a follower if you forego that first 2 power. Otherwise, you're going to get 2 more power after that. So there you go. These 2 are out forever. And just for fun, let's look at these other cards I did not get. 3 cost 3/3 with Double Earth. While he's attacking followers with strength less than his, can't be blocked. So they have to block him first. I think he's fine. 3 cost 3/3 would be solid. I would play that. And then a 4 cost, Den of Sabers, gain a power, draw a card, gain a standing, gain 2 power. It's a little pricey, 4 cost. I think I might actually prefer the Submerged Brilliance here because just of how Mythium hungry my deck is. But we'll add these to my deck for next time. The finale. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and bye.